the queen of 100 children. In the ancient kingdom of Liriana, there was a queen who defied the laws of nature. Queen Seraphina, revered for her beauty and wisdom, ruled alongside her husband, King Thaler. They were loved by their people, but one thing plagued their otherwise perfect reign: heirs. After years of marriage, the royal couple remained childless. Their palace, grand and filled with treasures from every corner of the world, echoed with an empty silence. It was a silence that gnawed at Queen Seraphina's heart. One day, while praying at the temple of Oren, the goddess of life and fertility, Seraphina encountered a figure shrouded in mist. The figure's voice was like the wind, whispering, omnipresent, and impossible to ignore. "I can grant you your heart's deepest desire," the voice said. "But there will be a cost." Without hesitation, Seraphina nodded. She would do anything to fill her empty halls with the laughter of children. The figure extended a hand from the mist, pressing a glowing, pulsing orb into the queen's chest. "You shall bear 100 children. They will be the strongest, the wisest, the bravest. But remember, not all will survive, and their destiny will tear at the very fabric of your soul." The figure disappeared before Seraphina could ask more, but her belly swelled that very night, and by the next dawn, she felt the fluttering of life inside her. Months passed, and when Queen Seraphina went into labor, it was unlike anything the kingdom had ever seen. The midwives screamed as they witnessed the impossible. Child after child emerged, each one crying stronger than the last. Soon, the palace nursery was filled with newborns, their tiny voices a chorus that could be heard throughout Liriana. Word of the miracle spread like wildfire. People from across the land came to see the queen who had birthed 100 children in a single night. It was a blessing, or so they thought. The children grew fast, too fast. By the time they reached their first year, they had the minds of 10-year-olds, their eyes filled with an unsettling wisdom. Each child was different, bearing unique talents and strengths that seemed to have come from the gods themselves. Some had voices that could charm birds from the sky, others possessed the strength to lift stones that not even the kingdom's strongest men could budge. But there was something else. With each passing month, Queen Seraphina began to notice something strange. Her children, for all their talents, did not behave as normal children should. They did not cry, did not laugh freely. They were disciplined, cold, and detached, as though some unseen force drove them. She tried to ignore it, but the voice of the figure from the temple echoed in her mind: "Not all will survive, and their destiny will tear at the very fabric of your soul." Seraphina's fear deepened when, one night, the oldest of her children, Adrian, a boy with piercing green eyes, appeared at her bedside. "Mother," he whispered. "There are dangers coming. Not all of us will remain." "What are you saying?" Seraphina's voice trembled as she sat up. "Some of us have been chosen. Others will be lost. The figure that gave us to you has not finished its work." Seraphina felt her blood turn cold. She remembered the warning, the cost. As the years passed, Seraphina watched in horror as her children began to vanish, one by one. Some disappeared in their sleep, leaving behind nothing but a cold indentation in their bed. Others fell ill with mysterious ailments that no healer could cure, withering away until they were nothing more than shadows of their former selves. The people of Liriana began to whisper. The queen's miracle had turned into a curse. Why did the children vanish? What dark forces were at play? The palace became a place of suspicion and fear. Even the king distanced himself, retreating into his duties, unable to cope with the loss of his children. Seraphina, however, refused to give up. Desperate to protect those who remained, she sought the counsel of seers, magicians, and priests. None could help her. None could understand the curse that had been laid upon her family. One stormy night, as she stood by her window, Seraphina saw a figure moving through the palace gardens. It was Adrian, now a young man, his face shadowed by the hood of his cloak. She followed him, heart pounding, through the winding paths until they reached the ancient well that had stood on the palace grounds for centuries. "What are you doing?" she demanded. Adrian turned to face her, his green eyes glowing faintly in the moonlight. "It's time, mother. The prophecy is coming to pass. I must leave." "Leave?" Seraphina felt as though her heart were being ripped from her chest. "I won't allow it. You're my son. I've already lost so many of you. You've known this day would come. We are not like other children. We were never meant to stay. Stay where? She demanded, stepping closer to him, her voice breaking. Where are you going? What prophecy? Adrian looked at her with a sadness so profound it nearly brought her to her knees. We are the seeds of a new world, Mother. We were born to rebuild, to conquer lands far beyond this kingdom. Some of us are destined to lead armies, others to shape the very fabric of reality. But we cannot do it here. This kingdom is too small for us. We must go where the figure intended us to go. Serafina reached out, grabbing his arm, but he pulled away gently, his strength far surpassing hers. Do not mourn us, Mother, Adrian said softly. We will always be with you. In the stories of the lands we conquer, in the whispers of the wind. We were born from your love, but we belong to the world. Before Serafina could stop him, Adrian stepped into the well's dark mouth and vanished. One by one, her remaining children followed, each disappearing into the abyss, leaving her alone in the garden. The kingdom of Liriana entered a time of mourning, for its queen had lost all 100 of her children. Some said they were taken by dark magic, others believed they had been cursed from the start. But Serafina knew the truth. Her children had not died, they had simply left to fulfill a destiny that stretched beyond the borders of her understanding. Years passed, and the queen's hair turned white. She ruled in silence, her heart forever scarred by the loss of her children. Yet, every now and then, she would hear whispers carried by the wind, stories of great warriors, wise leaders, and powerful sorcerers who had emerged in distant lands. And she knew, deep down, that her children had not disappeared. They were out there, shaping the world, just as the figure from the mist had promised. The queen had borne 100 children, and though she would never see them again, their legacy would live on for eternity. Moral. The moral of the story is that even the greatest gifts often come with unforeseen consequences, and the pursuit of one's deepest desires may lead to both joy and sorrow. Queen Serafina's tale reminds us that love and sacrifice are intertwined, and sometimes, the things we cherish most must be let go to fulfill their true destiny. In the end, we must accept that we cannot control everything, especially the paths of those we love, and that their journey may take them far from us for a greater purpose. Thank you for listening. For more fun and interesting stories, please like, share and subscribe.